So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast.
Good morning. So about an hour late. We're an hour late for coffee, but that's all right. You're joining me with Dan Latto this morning, who he tells me he has very few friends, but seems to have been stuck with me for, I don't know, probably about 9 years or something now. So
yeah,
I'm
it's not so quick anyway, so who knows.
It's quite funny because we're going to talk about listening and lifestyle, and how Dan, to me, is really expert at listening to people to understand what the true asset is and what they truly want out of life. And yesterday I was having a chat here at the Growth Hub with a lady who somehow clocked that I used to be an athlete, and she asked me, how is being an athlete in the past relevant to your business today? And I'd never really thought about it. But to me, this morning has been a perfect example of it. Just freaking persist until you can deliver what you're supposed to deliver.
Yeah.
So we've changed live streaming software, and it seems to be Kate-proof. So here we are. There we go. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on. Anyway, I appreciate that.
Welcome, Dan. So I was out in Spain with you about 2 weeks ago now, is it?
Yeah.
10 days? Something like that. And we started off, you picked me up from the airport, and we just headed to the beach, and we were going to talk about business and marketing and all this jazz. But no, first of all, you were determined to find out what I wanted my life to look like rather than anything about the business. And I'm going to guess you do that with most of your clients.
We do, but there's a couple of other things that we want as well. So when guests come over to Spain, so I live in Spain, I've got a villa by the beach, it's really cool, it's everything that you think it is, you know. So when we get guests coming over, and by guests I mean clients, they come over with they are in a cocoon, if you like in an eggshell. And unless we get out what's screaming to be got out, I call it the purge, then anything I give them just hits the side of the eggshell and drips down the side. There's no change work going on at all. So we've got to get in through the eggshell. And I'm sure you've heard this, life dies when you're getting into the shell, but life lives when it's coming out. So we get the person to make their own little hole to get out of the eggshell, and then it's just bleh, they splurge everything out. And there's another saying, which is you can't fill an overflowing cup. So we've got to get the cup somewhat empty before we can start putting some of our good stuff in there. And so that's why on that very first part, we want to get people to just, what's going on in life? What's working? What's not working? What's really bad? Give me that stuff. And people cry and people don't cry, and whatever is right for them is what's right for them. And that first bit is awesome because we're at the beach, we're walking along, our feet are in the water, and it was quite warm as well, which was nice despite it being October. and it's just a different environment where people can release what's holding them back, so to speak. And then once they've released that, in the next 2 days, we can crack on with doing the work that we need to get done. But we can't do that until people release some of the stuff that's going out.
And I think what's really interesting for the clinicians watching is that we perhaps do this with some of our clients, but over a longer period of time. So I was in Spain with them intensively for 3 days, but we have lots of half-hour, 1 hour sessions over many months. And it can be, I remember one particular gentleman, and it was about the 20th time I'd seen him, and I kept wondering, I don't actually know why you're quite coming back or where we're going here. And then all the emotion came out about why he was coming and what was going on in his personal life, and that we were just a safe space and a sanctuary for him to escape to once a fortnight and look after himself.
I do believe everything is connected. I'm an atheist and I'm very scientific based, but I still believe in this connection. And what I mean by that is that if you're overweight, you're going to affect your relationship, and if your relationship's not working, that'll affect your weight, and then that affects your mental health. That affects your work situation. It'll affect you in sport, and all of these little bits are affected. And one of the big bits that's in the middle is the mindset. And if the mindset is broken, you can do some repairs on the physical stuff, but you've not really solved the problem. And I think as physios, I think physios definitely understand that, the mind-body connection, because that's what it's all about. And you're very kinesthetic as well, by the way. And that means I have to adapt what I do to more suit you. So you had a stick and you're on the beach and you're drawing out your business. You're the first person to do that, but it's because you're so kinesthetic and the way that you have to do it. You know, you want to get stuck into the sand, you know. And it was very interesting to watch someone who's as kinesthetic as you are and the other physios watching. But if that's not something that happens actively away from work, that's going to affect your life, your mental health. And so I'm big into lifestyle. So like this morning, I should have had Spanish. It was cancelled anyway. So I went to the basketball court for 2 hours, which is
brilliant.
Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
brilliant. I played against Richard, who I always beat, bless him, and he's a good loser. But he won a game today, and I was like, oh no, you know. But it forces me to up my game, and I like that. But I think as physios are so busy working all hours sometimes, and this is not just physios, it's just business owners. They forget to be themselves. They forget to play football or go swimming or run around chasing after the kids because they have all these problems at work. And this holistic view of everything being interconnected, then the relationship fails, then their physical health fails, then their work is affected, and then they're not looking after the money coming in, which is a vital component of work, obviously. And so it has to be balanced properly. And when clients come over, we've got to get that balance back for them. So we talk about things like, well, when was the last date night? And we're like, date night? Never. And it's a joke because it's like, oh, date night, yeah, as if. But it's like, dude, you've got to get this in place because it's fine you're working all these hours, but if you've not got someone to share it with, what's the point, you know? So it's getting all these different bits, but we forget about because work takes over effectively.
So you and your wife Lou really chose to set up your life as you wanted. You were courageous enough to leave UK and identify that's what you wanted. Can you just tell the audience a little bit about that and how you ended up in Spain? Yeah,
completely. So Lou is a school teacher, and she was teaching in a school in Bradford, and she'd get up and go to work, takes an hour, she'd do work, she'd come home an hour, she'd do some work, we'd have dinner, she'd do some more work, she'd burst into tears, and then we'd go to bed. And that was our life, basically, because she was so overwhelmed with all the work as a teacher. I mean, it's just got worse and worse and worse, and you can blame Michael.
There are so many healthcare professionals now in the same situation.
Exactly, and Michael goes, he just goes around ruining things, doesn't he? Yeah. He's very good at it. So, so we were on the way down to an event that I was speaking at, and she was, you know, in this situation, and she's like, I just don't want to do it anymore. 7 years in. And I said, well, why don't we just teach overseas? And then she goes, oh, I've not thought of that. And I'd always wanted to move away at some point. So we were driving down the road. She's looking to see how much villas were to rent. She was looking at jobs. She literally applied for the job that weekend. This was in February, six years ago, I think. In February, she had the interview at a school in April, which she got the interview. We were getting married in July anyway. So we got married in July, honeymoon in August, moved to Spain in September. So we literally made a decision and we went for it. And there's a billion reasons why you can't do it. Family, I've got 2 young children in the UK and I'm going through this dreadful separation. All these reasons, and I had weekend contact every 2 weeks. So there's a billion reasons why you shouldn't do it. And I hear all the excuses all the time. But there's some really good reasons why you should do it. One is that I'm worth it. You know, I'm worth being happy. And my wife is worth it. She's worth being happy too. And the kids, they noticed no difference because I flew for 4 years, in fact, every 2 weeks to see them. So they still got dad every 2 weeks. So they didn't really notice a difference. But I was very unhappy living where I was living in the situation. And I felt I needed a change. And the change came when Lou said to me, okay, I'm done. Let's do something else. Were the challenges? Boy, there were challenges.
We're way bigger than just an IT connection we had this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge whatever you do, but we get over it and we move on and we move through it. And life is about designing what you want. And most people fall into what they want. You know, they fall into a business sometimes that's not working efficiently, and it's It's like I flew over to the UK just this weekend because we're helping a guy with his business. We're getting a percentage back of his business to help him. And, there's lots of things that he should be doing that he's not doing, but it's just overwhelmed with his business, And like we were talking about being holistic, we had to put the right components in place, the right team, the right account management, the right marketing team. And we're doing that now. And his business is going to fly in the next 12 months, no question. But it's the same with us. And I know you talk about the biology of business, and I'm the same as my business. It's a living entity. It breathes. It has to be motivated every day. The cells, which are the team, the staff, they've got to be motivated every day. They've got to be oxygenated. They need movement too. It's very, very similar. And I think
it's very important. There's so many small business owners and certainly clinic owners that I've spoken to that don't, they try to do everything themselves. They haven't, what I find really curious is that a lot of, as we've spoken about, clinicians do have a sporting background and they are team players, but somehow they're just terrified to apply the skills that they have, their clinical skills and also the skills they have from sport to their business. They haven't recognised if they see their business as a team sport, see it as a living thing, it's going to run and flow a whole lot easier. And if they just trust themselves, trust their team to take responsibility, so not abdicate, have a very clear purpose, a very clear direction, very clear responsibilities and KPIs, then people really thrive in that trust and that empowerment and that accountability.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what you're describing with the person you've just been to visit, that once they've got the right team in place, they've got the ability to sort everything else out, and it isn't so overwhelming. In fact, it becomes really quite exciting because you're all in it together. You're all in the boat together.
So if you took a sport like swimming, which you love swimming, so I'll do that as an example. Swimming, although it's a solo sport, to be really good at it isn't a solo sport. You've got to have a team in place. But knowing that you've got someone to look after your physique, let's say, your fitness levels, and to repair any damage, and then knowing someone you've got who looks after your dietary requirements.
Somebody else in the lane with you, somebody else telling you, pushing you along, somebody else is feeding you.
Exactly. And so you're still in charge, and that's not the issue. But you're trying to do everything, and you can't be an expert at everything. You've got to pull in the resources. And one of the questions we ask clients is, what resources do you need to grow your business in the next 12 months? And it's like, well, for example, for you to become an expert at marketing, you're pretty good anyway, but for you to become an expert at marketing, so you're up here, that's impossible. You need to do marketing for the next 10 years only. You can't do that. You've got all these other stuff you want to do. But you can pull in that resource of pulling in a marketing expert and pay them, and you get the results. And it's the same in your body and your physio business and so on.
But I also think it's really interesting. So over the last 18 months or so, my business has really transitioned to me really not operating in it very much at all, and the team really in the ownership of it. But one of the things I think is really interesting is business owners assume on their wish list of things, everything has to be paid for. And they forget that they've got great friends. I mean, if I think about my friends in the area that have helped me and unknowingly necessarily contributed towards the business, and I didn't even know at the time I was asking, but for example, some of my friends are clients, and they will give us really honest feedback about, Kate, your telephone's not answered if I call after 4 o'clock or whatever it is. But you can draw on your whole community. Or I have a friend who's a performance coach, and she helps coach Abby once a week, and she's doing it. It's a mutual benefit. So there's all sorts of resources that clinic owners and business owners probably have available to them that people want to help them. The community want to see them succeed, and
you know what I think stops them?
They're not brave enough to ask.
I think there's a massive fear around getting feedback, first of all, because what if it's bad? And it's like, there's the saying, feedback is the breakfast of champions.
Yeah.
But what if it's bad feedback? Well, that's even better. I'd rather get bad feedback than good feedback, because if I get good feedback...
Here saying something like that the worst feedback is actually your best knowledge.
Yeah, because if I get good feedback, I can't improve. If I get bad feedback, I can fix that, and I can fix this, and I can fix this. And then, if you get good feedback, I can't fix anything because it just works. So we should be doing feedback.
Spoke about the duality of actually, we know what we're trying to communicate, but we don't actually necessarily know what people are perceiving. Yeah. So the feedback is critical to actually understand, well, how are people perceiving us, and how are people seeing what our offering is, which could be completely different from what we're intending.
Because my wife says to me, I can't see inside your head. I start having a conversation with her, and she's like, what are you on about? And I'm like, I'm on about this. And she's like, the first bit of the conversation was in your head. You didn't say that out loud. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, sorry. When I tell her, she's like, oh, okay. And as business operators, that's how we operate. But getting that feedback from somebody else, a third party, and it's like, run a checklist once a quarter. Get an external agency in to phone up your clients and go, what did you like? What can we improve on? And they'll give you that honest feedback, especially if it's anonymous.
We have physiotherapy students. Our physiotherapy students make those calls to the last 20 clients to find out, to get that feedback. I also think it's important for students to hear. The students need to understand what clients or what patients are actually coming to physiotherapy for. So calling them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later to find out what's gone on in their world is obviously, as a business, we benefit from the feedback, but the student benefits and the client benefits.
I do think there's a danger, though. And the danger is this, that if you just get an idea and you go, oh, that's a good idea, get feedback. Right, I'm going to go and do that. Where's the plan? Where does that fit into the overall plan? Because actually, it's like saying, I've broken my leg, but, oh, my gosh, my nails are too long. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut my nails. Well, what about your broken leg? If your business isn't working, i.e. the broken leg, you need to fix that first. Yeah, but I've just got this great idea over here, and you can't. How does it fit into the business? And so, again, there's no plan, and it's not the business owner's fault. Look at me, I'm getting all excited. It's not the business owner's fault because they don't know necessarily how to run the business. They may be great at being a physio or great at running a butcher's shop, but they don't know how to run a business or how to market. And that's where those resources come in to help you get the plan, put it in place. Like this weekend in London, really incredibly nice guy, but really a bit all over the place, trying to do all sorts of different stuff, but there's no cohesive plan. So the first thing we're putting in is a cohesive plan. And if a plan is good...
It's just what I think clinicians need to see and have the confidence in, and that this is what they'll be doing all the time with the patient. They're prioritising the patient that comes in with acute back pain and an old sprained ankle, which means they're not so great on the basketball court at the moment. Well, the ankle right now can actually wait because until you can put your socks on in the basketball court anyway. So they have the ability to plan and prioritise and implement for a client, but somehow those skills, they're not having the confidence or trust to translate to their business. But they have those skills, which I think is a huge advantage to clinic owners.
But if you think about when they get those skills, they receive those skills in an education environment that they can then practice with. And if they don't, so they're not transferable to business, because if you're running your business, when are you going and receiving education in an educational arena about how to run your business and what your marketing should look like and what offers need to look like and all of, how do you run your database, all of that kind of thing. So it's not the business owner's fault, really. And they're still responsible. And there's a difference between being responsible and being at fault, okay? But knowing that actually, I really understand what Dan's saying. I need to get on something that I can learn how to run the business. They might be the best physio on the planet. Nobody will ever know unless you know how to run the business. And that's the bit that I imagine isn't really taught. It's like, it's like doctors learning about weight loss. They get like 12 hours in 7 years about weight loss. And it's obvious. Move less and eat more. No, move more and eat less. That's it. And it doesn't work. I'm in my weight loss and I'm fasting right now. And my weight loss is just shedding. And I'm like, wow, this is just like, it's blowing my mind. But it's one little piece of information.
You can run that basketball court.
Yeah, and also playing the basketball, and I've got the gym this afternoon as well, so we're upping it in all areas. That dad's always going.
Well done. Well, thank you very much for your patience this morning, Dan, while we've been figuring out how to make this all work. But I'm really glad that we seem to have found a piece of software that is cake-proof and intuitive. And we will catch up soon.
Wonderful. Have a wicked day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.